Does anyone else notice that James Gunn tends to make the same things in all his projects? And that gets me worried for the new DC universe, and I want to talk about that. Hey there, it's your Matt Doodle to my Thomas Hands. Doodle here with another video. Today, I want to talk about how I am very excited for James Gunn's new DC universe, but I am also very worried, mainly because of how he likes to make his films. Now, I have been one of those people that have been very hyped for anything going on in his new universe, especially the Superman film, and especially with the trailer that came out. But I've noticed something, and I have kind of sprinkled it around in other videos. But in this one, I want to explain why I feel kind of off. And it's because of the type of films he makes in general. When he was making the Guardians of the Galaxy films, they were awesome. They were all really good. Maybe they were a little off by the first one, but they got better. He was learning to direct a little better each time, right? And by the third movie, it made you cry. It made you feel things. But there's something about those films that I think people tend to forget. Because the Guardians of the Galaxy were technically unknowns at the time, he could do whatever he wanted. He could turn each character to something he wanted to see. Like Peter Quill, Star-Lord. Originally, he was not this brash, womanizer, man-child person. He was actually a responsible leader. Someone who actually took care of everyone in his team and even had respect.
Look, my name is Peter Quill. I'm the leader of the Guardians.
He's the Star-Lord. Respect him.
We're an intergalactic peacekeeping force. We work together to keep the known galaxy stable.
But in the films, they basically made Star-Lord sound like it's a joke. It's not really a serious thing.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
Who?
Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Guys.
And don't get me wrong, I still like that direction, but that wasn't what the original character was. And I'm not saying I knew who he was beforehand, because I didn't. I've seen his images in comics and like cartoons, but that's about it. I did not know who he was. Or even Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon was not how he was portrayed in the comics, at least in the beginning. In the comics, he was also this very kind, sweet character who was not this raspy, loudmouth thief. That's not what he was. But in the film, they did make him like that. And by the end, they did turn him into kind of what he was in the comics. And the reason I even know that is because when those movies were coming out, I would hear people talk about how James Gunn changed his characters. And I was like, okay, these characters are cool. I didn't really care about them beforehand. So it's a really cool interpretation, right? But then when I also saw The Suicide Squad, I was also like, you know what? This is actually very cool. This is awesome. But then again, this was a group film. This was a team that learned to come together and be heroes, like the Guardians of the Galaxy films. And that one I am not 100%, like bashing on for character-wise, because he did make them good characters. They were all like in that universe, and I don't blame him for that. But they also made Polka Dot Man a very depressed, sad character that learned to be better. And that's not how he is in the comics. He was just a goofy villain in the comics. But he changed him, and they changed Peacemaker very drastically to what he originally was. I'm not saying these are bad or good changes. I personally like the change because it made it more interesting. I love the costume direction, and that's also something I want to talk about. But he changed characters to fit the story he wanted. And then when Creature Commandos came out, these were characters that I've never heard of. And he did change them from the comics in ways where that's not how they were. Like with The Bride and Frankenstein. More Frankenstein because in the comics he is much more noble and heroic. He changed them. And these are all changes that I'm usually okay with because these are characters I don't tend to care, but he made me care, right? But those aren't the things he's working on anymore. I mean, he still worked on the Creature Commandos, but he's working on the Superman film. And in the film, he introduced other characters like Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Metamorpho. And by the context clues of the trailer and all the teasers that were coming out, it seems they're going into a team. And Superman is going to be an outsider who's going to teach the team how to be better, if that makes sense. But again, this is a team. And that's why I'm worried. And it seems like James Gunn is really good at teams, but I'm not so sure about just singular people films. Now, in the trailer, I got really excited. I was super happy because it did seem like he understands Superman, and he is a fan. But from what everything he likes to direct and what he chooses to direct and make, it is a team film, and they seem to be unknowns. Superman is not an unknown. He is one of the top tier superheroes, so he can't act like his character is completely different. Now, I'm not saying he's going to do that, but with other characters like Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and Metamorpho, he may change them up completely because not a lot of people tend to know them or those versions. Because like the Hawkgirl in this film, it is not the normal Hawkgirl that you tend to see, at least not the first one. We don't know what her origin is. They're probably going to change it because she's an unknown. So that's why I'm a little worried. Now, the only type of team that I would technically be okay with for James Gunn to introduce in this film is kind of like the Daily Planet news team. That's really about it. If he can get all these characters that he's introduced, Lois Lane, Clark Kent, Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, Cat Grant, and Steve Lombard, and he can make them correct, that would be cool. But again, most of those characters are probably going to be changed because James Gunn can change them because they're not as well known. So that's a big worry of mine. And then I also wanted to talk about the suit he has in this movie. I learned to love it. I have said in multiple films, I like that it got brighter. I like that it actually shows him just be like a normal guy. But the problem is that the suit, the way the suit looks like, it looks very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque or MCU-like. I wasn't gonna say anything for a while, but I didn't want to just seem like I am just saying James Gunn is perfect. He can do no wrong. He is like gonna make the best universe. No, there are clear worries I have. I just said that, it's more MCU. Like the lines, the way it's structured is very more like it's a jacket. So I'm worried that like every other person is gonna wear something like that because he did make the Terrifics, as I'm calling them, because that's kind of what they are in the comics, wear these very MCU-esque suits. And I know I have also said that they're probably gonna do that because it's a team suit. Everyone has to wear something like that. Yes, but then that makes me worried about what they're gonna wear outside of that. Are they gonna actually go like their normal comic route, but make them like the jackets that like Superman is wearing, or any of like the Guardians of the Galaxy were wearing? Or is he actually gonna let them wear a much more accurate costume to what they're originally like? And I normally be like, you know what, he's gonna make them different and all stuff, but by what he's made beforehand, it really worries me. Now, I do want to say that I am still very excited. I am very hopeful for what's going to happen. Like, this man did write the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, and those were my childhood as a kid, and he did seem to get them right. But again, they were a team. So, and I do want to be happy. I do want to be excited, and I am, but there is too much where I'm worried that this universe will not last because of how inexperienced James Gunn is to run an entire universe. He's a movie director, not a studio head. So what do you think? Do you think that James Gunn could actually run this whole universe and not have any worries? Or do you think that he's going to crash and burn because of how uncertain it seems? I'm excited, but again, I am also worried. Or are you in the middle like me, where I'm kind of like in this, like I'm really cautiously optimistic about the universe, but very worried by the fact that this guy has not really managed an entire DC universe, managed different films and different shows and different things? I'd really like to know your opinion. I just wanted to make this short video to talk about that because I don't want people to just assume that I just like James Gunn just because. But hey, if there's nothing else, this has been Doomite. I hope everyone stays nerdy, and I hope to see everyone in the next video. Bye!